Hey, how's it going guys? Felxprod here, and today I'm going to discuss some of the major 5.1 Mage changes that were introduced to Mists of Pandaria. Now, if you haven't already noticed, Mages did quite get a nerf, quite a big nerf compared to other classes, but it's definitely not so big that it's going to affect us in too much of a way. It's not going to affect our class entirely, and we can definitely adapt ourselves to it. So I'm just going to put many tool tips on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about and just give a few of the changes and what I think about them. So Ring of Frost is the first ability, as you can see here, and the nerf on this ability was that it has been increased to a 45-second cooldown, up from 30 seconds. Now this kind of affects us in a way because mages like to cast as much Ring of Frost as possible. It's a major CC. I'm just gonna give an example here on this training dummy. It's a major CC. It's an AOE CC, and it freezes the targets to up to 8 seconds. Yeah, you can get major CC on the team, especially in RPGs. You'll have like a DK, and you'll tell your DK to AOE grip into the Ring of Frost you casted, and it's a lot of CC on the team, guys. And it's very, very effective. In arenas, you're always going to open with a Presence of Mind, Ring of Frost, and then every single time it's off cooldown, you're always going to try cast it. Since it's so much CC, you just can't risk not using it. And to have it with a 15-second more cooldown to not be able to use it is kind of a small change that is going to affect us in a tiny way, but it's not too much to worry about, and we can go along with the change. It's not going to be too much to QQ about. Alright, so our second... the second change being put to Ring of Frost is that now it can no longer affect more than 10 targets. This is not going to affect PvP in a way, since I barely know of a time in PvP where you really need to Ring of Frost 10 or more people. Because, first of all, I doubt that you'll be able to get 10 or more people in a real PvP situation stuck in a Ring of Frost. And this is more, I guess, for a change in PvE, because if you have Ring of Frost and you're like kiting ads or whatever like that, you have a lot of ads chasing you, and you want to maybe put a Ring of Frost down. Well, you can only freeze up to 10 of those ads, not as much as you want. So it is a change, but that's not going to affect us in PvP, and I'm not going to worry about it as I do not do PvE. Sorry. So give your thoughts down below if you are a PvEer and this has affected you in a way. I would definitely like to hear about it, as I am very interested, guys. Alright, so the second ability here that did change was the duration of Deep Freeze has been reduced to 4 seconds. So I think it was 8 seconds before, but please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember. But it was a change, and the change is that you're not going to be able to have a player stuck in Deep Freeze here. I'm just going to Deep Freeze this target, and as you can see, it only lasts 4 seconds. And you always want to have a target in a Deep Freeze. Deep Freeze is going to increase your damage substantially because of the ability Shatter that all mages have. That doubles the critical strike chance of any of your spells against frozen targets, plus an additional 50% of more damage. So you always want to have your targets frozen, and having your Deep Freeze being reduced to only lasting 4 seconds, and it has a 30-second cooldown is quite a big change, but oh well, we're going to work ourselves around it, and hopefully it doesn't affect us too much. It's only been 2 days of the change, I'm pretty sure, since 5.1 came out, and I have to test it out more to see if it's going to affect us mages that much. Alright, so the third change is Frostbomb. Frostbomb will now detonate after 6 seconds, up from 5 seconds. I don't see the major change here. It's only 1 second. I can't really exactly tell if it's a nerf or buff, guys, but please leave your thoughts below. Once again, I'm just going to repeat myself. The duration of Frostbomb will now detonate after 6 seconds, up from 5 seconds. So it's been increased by 1 second. So leave your thoughts below. Please leave a comment down below saying if this was a nerf or a buff. But overall, I don't think it's going to be too much of a change. I can't decide for myself. Alright, so the fourth change is Mage Armor now reduces the duration of harmful magic effects by 25%, when it was previously 35%. So, that is a nerf, as it makes it so the duration of harmful magic effects is reduced. The amount of, I'm sorry. Now, Mage Armor now reduces the duration of harmful magic effects by 25%. It doesn't reduce it by 35% anymore, so it is quite a nerf. You're gonna take more dot damage, I would think, by spellcasters, even when having Mage Armor up. But it's not too much of a major change, and I'm not too worried about it. Alright, sorry about that, guys. For some reason, my recording cut off there, but I'm back. And when we last left off, we were talking about Mage Armor, and that's pretty much it about Mage Armor, guys. It's not going to affect us too much, so don't worry about it. The fifth change is the damage absorbed by Ice Barrier has now been reduced by 25%. I do think this is going to affect mages in a particular way, as I always like to have my Ice Barrier up, and always want to count on it, especially against those melee classes in particular. I don't know why, but especially against warriors in particular, actually, because when I'm being locked down as a Clothy myself, when I'm being locked down by a warrior being stunned and he's in melee range to just absolutely destroy me, as I do take a lot of damage as a caster, as a Clothy as well, I always want to count on my Ice Barrier to absorb as much damage as possible before it's broken. And now that it's reduced by 25%, this is going to harm us in quite a way. I can't exactly do the calculation exactly how much damage it's going to be reduced by, but if you don't know already, Ice Barrier, the amount of damage absorbed by Ice Barrier is basically all based off the amount of mastery I think you have as a mage. And what mine was before the change was it was around 86,000 damage, but now it's been reduced after the change to around 65,000. So that is quite a big change. Not too much to worry about, but it is a change, and we definitely have to take note of that on how we use our Ice Barriers and how we adapt to them. Alright, so the final change, and I think is the most major change that really shows out a lot, is the mana cost of spell steal has been increased to 21% of base mana for fire and frost mages, not arcane mages, but fire and frost mages, up from 7%. So it was increased to 21% when it was previously 7% in the previous patch. This means that we can't no longer spam as much spell steals as we want on a target. We can't always just like, I'm just gonna take all your abilities, I'm gonna steal all your spells and use them for myself. So you have to be much more mana effective on how you use your spell steals. You have to be much more careful on where you use your spell steals, what you're spell stealing, and you can't spam it anymore like you could before, because it wasn't affecting too much of your mana. But now that it's 21%, let me just give an example here. I'm going to spam as much spell steals as I can before I'm absolutely and you'll see that it will be very, very fast. So I'm going to do this on this target dummy here. I'm just spamming spell steal, and you can see my mana dropping. It's already under 50% mana, and I can't do any more spell steals. That is going to absolutely destroy you. You used to be able to do that easily and still have around 80% mana, but you can't do that anymore, as it is a lot of mana. So I can't just easily go up to the paladins like, I'm going to steal all your buffs, your freedom, and your mastery or whatever. And I can't go up to the lock and say, hey, I'm going to steal your demon soul and all that. So you have to be much more careful where you use your spell steals and when you use your spell steals. But after that, guys, that's basically all the changes, all the major changes at least for Frost Mages in particular. I hope you guys enjoyed, and please leave some thoughts down below on what you thought about these changes, things that could have been done better about expressing these changes, and I hope to see you in the near future in the next video.